Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online VGC 17 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Like I mentioned, still going to finish things up using this team that we featured for about a week or so with Snorlax and Nihilego. It's been a really fun team. I am trying to use a new team. You guys left some pretty cool recommendations in yesterday's episode, so I am taking those into consideration. If there's any Pokemon or set that you would like to see in particular on this series, definitely let me know in the comments below as well. I'll take that into consideration like I mentioned. And I know a lot of you guys have been asking about the team analysis for the previous team. That will be coming out shortly later this week. Sorry for the delay on that, so keep your eyes open for that as well. But yeah, we're just going to jump into today's episode. As always, if you guys enjoy Road to Rank, please show support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, I have missed a couple of episodes here and there in the last month, so I do want to make those up. Not sure whether I want to do double uploads with the new team or with this current team. This current team is still a lot of fun to play with, so yeah, I'll kind of come to a decision about that, and we'll see. Really just need to figure out, first of all, what I want to use for the next team, because there's still a lot in the format I haven't tried out, and there's some particular ideas I definitely want to test out, so just a matter of building a proper team around them. And, you know, for most of the teams I have on Road to Ranked, honestly, it's just kind of like throwing together Pokemon that I think work together well, and then making small adjustments here and there. This team's actually been really fun to use, so we've pretty much stuck with it from the beginning till the end in terms of Pokemon and moves and whatnot. It definitely has a couple of weaknesses here and there, but I've been pretty happy about its time here on Road to Rank. So, just going to look for our first opponent today. It's going to be Timo from the Netherlands with a rating of 1503. We're slowly actually creeping our way into the 1800s, which is pretty nice. And Timo here has got a really interesting team. Alola, Ninetales, Tapu Fini, Nihilego, Buzzwole, Magnezone, and Crocodile. So, I think the things that definitely stick out the most are the Buzzwole and the Magnezone. Magnezone, of course, did win a regional championship on Gavin Michaels' team, and we did feature Gavin's team earlier. Really strong option. Crocodile here is also pretty interesting. It, you know, is one of those Pokemon that kind of operates similar to Garchomp in the sense that it can just nuke Pokemon like Mach and Arcanine even through Intimidate with Tectonic Rage. Very common Z-move user. Alola Ninetales typically almost always carries the Focus Sash, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that here again. That's what I want to lead with. I kind of like Coco Garchomp here, because what Coco Chomp allows me to do is, like, kind of nuke the Ninetales immediately, unless my opponent knows I'm Scarfed. In the back, let's see. Gyarados is, like, tempting, but the main reason why Gyarados is tempting is so I can Earthquake freely next to myself. That might be enough of a reason to bring it, honestly. And for the last one, Nihilego is tempting. It's between Nihilego and Arcanine, really. I mean, Snorlax is okay here, but Buzzwole is definitely a threat. This one's kind of tough. Like, I kind of want to go Nihilego for the Tapu Fini. It's pretty much the main reason. But I think Arcanine actually hits overall a little bit harder. So Fini will be somewhat of a concern, but you know, I do have Tapu Koko with Choice Specs, and that just can still nuke Tapu Fini. If it doesn't knock it out with... I mean, if Electric Terrain's not up, Thunderbolt still does like 90%, and if it is like Calm Mind Fini, which is one of the more common variants right now, if not the most common variant, then, you know, you can Calm Mind up, but 2 Thunderbolts will still knock you out. So, let's see what Timo brings out here. Definitely an interesting team comp. I'm going to go with my Coco Garchomp lead. This is probably the most popular lead with this team, but for good reason. We do see Crocodile and Ninetales. Okay. So, this is a pretty free opportunity to just go straight for a Dazzling Gleam and a Poison Jab, I think. The only fear is that Ninetales might protect. And I don't know whether it will or not. But, can Crocodile take a Dazzling Gleam? Probably. But we just confirmed he's not, like, Scarf Ninetales. I have seen that occasionally. Yeah, I'm just going to Dazzling Gleam here and Poison Jab. I'm fine trading Pokemon right now. Maybe I should have brought in Nihilego, though, because there's a decent chance Fini is in the back. I might lose Coco turn 1. He could protect Ninetales and Earthquake. Then I would get a free switch in. I don't know if Dazzling Gleam plus Hail knocks out Crocodile, though. I feel like it shouldn't. But, yeah, I'm not that familiar with my, like, Coco calcs against Pokemon that are, like Crocodile. Crocodile is, like, not that common, that's why. I don't think it should knock it out, but maybe I'm underestimating the power of Coco. But, of course, spread damage, too. So here I'm hoping my opponent doesn't expect the Scarf and just attacks the Ninetales, so I can eliminate that immediately. And Ninetales often carry Freeze Dry, so that's why I'm kind of worried about it. And no Protect comes out, which is perfect. So I will get this Poison Jab, which should hopefully, yeah, that should definitely be in Dazzling Gleam KO range. Get the Poison, not like that really matters too much. And Tapu Koko here, we'll get the Choice Specs Dazzling Gleam off. Yeah. So, yeah, Crocodile does hang on like I thought it would. Ninetales does go down, though. Let's see what he goes for here. Rock Slide. So, perhaps predicting a switch it into Gyarados. Interesting. What's up?
No.
Do you have class? I'm recording right now.
I have class at 2:45.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so interesting Rock Slide there. Probably not wanting to Earthquake himself. No Tectonic Rage or anything coming out as well, which is interesting. But that probably just seals up the game immediately, honestly. Magnezone comes in, so Chomp had its Air Balloon too. So yeah, I can just go for another Dazzling Gleam here, switch Chomp out, back in, and that pretty much wraps things up. I'm gonna bring in Gyarados because if Feeny is in the back, I do want... actually Arcanine probably would have been better. But the reason why I want Arcanine, or why I want to conserve Arcanine is because it has the Z, or it doesn't have the Electric Z move, but it has Wild Charge, which should chunk Feeny for a good amount still. Although I suppose Misty Terrain would be up. But let's see. I don't think, like, Magnezone here probably wants the Thunderbolt. It would be a bold read to Thunderbolt the Garchomp slot, but he does know that I am Scarfed at this point. I could have jabbed Crocodile as well, but Garchomp wants to just come in freely on Earthquake. But I think it would have been better to sacrifice Arcanine. We don't even know if that slot's going down. I mean, because Crocodile won't be able to do anything, so it's really whether Magnezone Thunderbolts the Garchomp slot or not, which would be a pretty aggressive prediction. And no Protects or anything, so yeah. Scarf Chomp once again catching opponents off guard, picking up a knockout. That Dazzling Gleam still doing a ton of damage. Bring Crocodile just in... yeah, it was not in KO range from the Hail, but did around 90% or so. So, like I thought, wouldn't knock it out. And we do see a Thunderbolt. Let's see if it is the Gyarados slot. Good prediction by my opponent, knowing that I was Scarf, so Thunderbolting into a Garchomp slot, but that's not too much of a concern. Gyarados isn't too necessary at this point. I can just bring in Garchomp back in. And, yeah, I was worried about the Feeny, but I still have my Tapu Koko, which is also good. Maybe I'll bring in Arcanine here. No, I still like Scarf Chomps, because Scarf Chomp pressures my opponent's team so much. We'll see if the last one is Feeny. If it is, then, yeah, we're in a pretty good place. Even if not, it's actually Buzzwole. We're still in a good place, yeah. Because I can just, let's see. Yeah, especially with Arcanine in the back. I'm just going to Dazzling Gleam here. And I'm going to switch out into Arcanine. Do I want to switch out, actually? Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to Dazzling Gleam and switch out. The idea is Dazzling Gleam should do a ton to Buzzwole. Hail is still ticking down, and then Garchomp can just come in and Earthquake freely. The frustrating thing, obviously, is because I'm running Scarf and Specs here, I can't just protect either of my Pokemon, and I don't have a safe switch into Earthquake, which is part of the reason why maybe I should have conserved Gyarados, so I could switch into something to Earthquake freely. That's one of the weaknesses of this team. It's not that easy to Earthquake, especially when you don't bring Gyarados. You could do it with Snorlax on the side. But yeah, that Intimidate against Buzzwole actually will be pretty good. I know that Magnezone probably can't like Flash Academy to knock me out, and yeah, Dazzling Gleam does a ton there. Definitely puts both in KO range from an Earthquake. We actually see a superpower, so now Earthquake definitely will knock it out. Going onto the Koko slot, but through Intimidate, not going to knock it out. Magnezone here probably going to launch a Thunderbolt. Maybe it has Hidden Power Ice, but it doesn't really matter. It actually is Hidden Power, but that could be Ground. Nope, looks like it actually is White Ice, so somehow called that, but that's pretty surprising. Not something you see too often. Gavin Michaels' Magnezone is obviously Choice Specs, which is a really strong option for the metagame. But yeah, now I don't even need to bring Garchomp back in. I can just go for a Flare Blitz on the Magnezone and a Dazzling Gleam. So yeah, turn 1 played out perfectly. The Rock Slide was super surprising, but even if he did go for an Earthquake, I would have had to free switch it into Gyarados, and my opponent actually had no option for Gyarados after the Ninetales went down, because I had the Z move, and I'd Intimidate Buzzwole and Crocodile, and Z move probably just knocks out Magnezone. So yeah, now I can just... I don't think I've actually used the Z move with Arcanine, so I guess I'll just go for that, because Magnezone could protect, and Dazzling Gleam to finish things off. So pretty cool to see Buzzwole. Unfortunately, it didn't really do very much for my opponent's end, but it's always a Pokemon I'm kind of curious about. Yeah, I think it's something I might actually want to try out. Now you go, you know, we obviously featured. I had Zergatry on earlier. I don't think I've used Celesteela yet. That's a Pokemon I'm considering trying out too, obviously, because it's so prominent in the metagame. But Pheromosa is something I'm really curious about. Opponent's just going to forfeit here, so we do pick up the win. But yeah, I might try out Z-move Pheromosa. That's something we like ran into a bunch, I think, on the series, but never really tried it out. And it's just really interesting because of how hard it hits offensively and the multiple variants you can use. We ran into a special one like a couple of episodes back, I think like a week or so, 2 weeks ago. And that was really interesting because you can knock out like Porygon 2, You don't have to worry about Intimidate at any point. Obviously, you have to rely on Focus Blast as your main means of offense, which is bad, but, you know, Pheromosa does get access to Ice Beam, which one-shots Garchomp, which is one of the more common Pokemon in the format right now. And honestly, not having to worry about Intimidate can go a long way, because Intimidate's obviously pretty common. I mean, this team has 2 Intimidate users, but Arcanine is one of, if not the most common Pokemon in the format, surprisingly. I think on Battle Spot for last season, Arcanine was the most common Pokemon, which is really surprising, but, you know, it just has... Intimidate's always such a good format in VGC. It's why we've seen Pokemon like Landorus dominate, you know, Salamence in previous years, Mega Salamence, Mega Mawile, for example, and their base forms. And we actually run into James Baek for our next opponent of the day. So if you guys don't know who James is, he's played at Worlds a bunch, a really solid player. I used to compete against him all the time back in New York, because that's where he lives, but he has his own YouTube channel, so if you're interested in that, I'll link it in the description below. It's been a long time since James and I have played, so this should be exciting, but he is a Worlds caliber player, having competed at Worlds at least 2 times, maybe 3 times, if I remember correctly, and he's had some very solid regional performances. So he's got Porygon 2, Araquanid, Kartana, Tapu Koko, Arcanine, and Garchomp. So, you know, pretty relatively standard team composition. A bunch of things stick out here. Like, Nihilego would be really solid against Arcanine, Garchomp, Koko, but Araquanid's scary. I mean, it can do a lot with Power Gem. Kartana definitely sticks out the most. I think, you know, Porygon with the Trick Room option is always a little bit scary. So, the real question is, who does he put next to Porygon if it does come out to that as a lead? You know, I kind of like Koko Nihilego here. Because what that does is Nihilego is covered, like, the only thing Nihilego is really worried about is Kartana, and Kartana I can just hit and Power Fire. I haven't used that much, but it's definitely viable. I think I'm going to bring Snorlax here if he does go for the Trick Room option. And for the last one, Scarf Chomp is so tempting because his whole team gets hit by ground-type attacks, but Scarf Chomp's so bad against Porygon. So maybe I'll go Gyarados or Arcanine. Either of those could work. I'm going to go Gyarados, though, because it's a good switching into Arcanine if James ends up bringing it. So, yeah, this is going to be an exciting game. James is a really good player. I'm not too sure about my team matchup here. And it's really hard, especially in best of 1. Like, Chomp could do a lot of work here, but I ended up not bringing it because I'm really worried about the Porygon. And especially if you know I'm Scarfed, which James might know if he's seen any of the recent videos or followed when I'm using Scarf Chomp, so we'll see. But we see Koko Kartana, which is... This is really tricky because I don't know what item the Kartana has. If it's AV, then I get a really free turn of just hidden power firing and sludge bombing. But if it's Sash, then he will just survive and knock out Nihilego. So this is tricky. Let's send it back potentially. Yeah, if I let Garchomp here, it would have been very nice. Although he could be Scarf Koko for all I know. Yeah, I think I will just HP Fire Sludge Bomb here. Maybe I want to Protect. I'm going to go for it. He could be Scarf Kartana, actually. I didn't think about that. That could be bad, too. But I would be fine taking the trade, because I do have Snorlax in the back. These are both Pokemon that could potentially... Okay, so he reveals Protect on Kartana. So he's obviously not AV. And Koko just Dazzling Gleams. I'll take that turn, because Sludge Bomb here should just knock him out. And he's Life Orb. Okay, so Kartana's definitely Sash. He opted to Protect, maybe expecting my Nihilego to Protect, which I did consider. But getting the knockout onto Koko is great, because now I can switch into my Gyarados to intimidate the Kartana, and I can still hit and Power Fire into that slot. So, yeah, James probably going for a prediction there, hoping my Nihilego would Protect, but because I didn't know the Kartana's item, I just kind of went for it, which was kind of a risky play, honestly. Like, you never want to start a game off where you have to make a very aggressive read. Not like that was like the most aggressive of reads, but yeah. We're going to see Araquanid come in, so this is a perfect opportunity for the Gyarados to switch in. So I will just launch another Hidden Power Fire onto Kartana. The question really is, do I want to switch out? I probably do. I want to switch out into Gyarados. He could predict this. Maybe I want to switch Koko out, actually. As odd as that seems. Because I want to be able to Thunderbolt Araquanid. I kind of wish I brought Arcanine now. Okay, I'm running out of time. Yeah, I'll just HP Fire Kartana and switch out into Gyarados, I guess. Because that gets the Intimidate off, which is really good against both of these. It'll bring Kartana down to its presumed Sash. But dealing with Araquanid might still be a little bit tricky. I think maybe I should have switched out Koko there, but I was running out of time. Yeah, so he doesn't switch out with Cortana, which is good. So HP Fire here will bring it down to its Presumed Sash. Yeah, there it is. So that's kind of wish I had, if I had Arcanine here, I could just Dazzling Gleam that slot. He's going to Leaf Blade here into the Koko slot. Smart. Picks up a Beast Boost here, so he will be back at neutral. And let's see what Araquanid goes for. I would think maybe the Z move. Nope, he just Liquidation, so -1 shouldn't be too much to me. Yeah. Hopefully no defense drop, that would be really bad. Okay, good. So now Snorlax can come in. But yeah, if I had Arcanine here, I'd feel a little bit more comfortable with Extreme Speed Pressure, but that's fine. Okay, Snorlax is in now. He could Sacred Sword me, and that's not really that much of an issue. Probably, like, you'd want to Leaf Blade Gyarados right now. And I need to get rid of Cortana because it threatens the Nihilego. So the safe play is just a Facade here. To be honest, he probably doesn't knock me out, so I think Facade Dragon Dance actually works, because he could protect Cortana and Liquidation into Snorlax, expecting Gyarados to protect. I'm pretty sure a neutral Leaf Blade doesn't knock out Gyarados in this range. But we will see. Yeah, maybe I should have switched Koko out. And, yeah, he just Leaf Blades. Oh, into Snorlax. He actually gets a crit. That's unfortunate, but at least I will knock out Cortana and get a Dragon Dance up, and it's most likely that Araquanid's going to target down Snorlax. So he probably expected to protect there from Gyarados. Interesting option to go for a Leaf Blade instead of Sacred Sword, though. Because Sacred Sword, you would... he does Z-move me here. Okay, that's fine. So he's wasted his Z-move, which means he also doesn't have a means of recovery with Araquanid. Sometimes you do see Citrus on it. But the crit definitely hurts me a little bit. Actually, I guess if he didn't get that crit, maybe he wouldn't even brought me down under 50% to proc the berry, so maybe that actually helped, we'll see. Kinda wish I recycled now, but nice double up on his end. But I am at +1 now. It really comes down to what his last Pokemon is, and yeah, Snorlax is able to take that pretty decently, actually. So I will get the Facade off, we'll knock out Cortana, eliminating the biggest threat to my Nihilego, which is good. Araquanid still one-shots Nihilego though, so that's kind of a concern, but we'll see what the last one is. If it's not Porygon, I definitely like my position a lot. But it is Porygon, okay. So let's see what he gets with Download. It's going to be an attack increase. I don't think +1 knocks him out. Question is whether he Trick Rooms or not, though. I'm just really afraid of a Thunderbolt from Porygon. The play I want to make, I don't think Liquidation knocks out Snorlax at -1. I really want to double up into Porygon right now. And I think I will. So I'm going to Facade and go for the Z move onto Porygon. I would think that would knock it out. Because the other bad, play I'm fearing is a Thunderbolt onto Gyarados from the Porygon and a Liquidation, but Liquidation shouldn't knock me out. If that's the case, I'll be able to knock out Porygon next turn. But this is still kind of tough. So let's see. Hydro Vortex at +1 from Gyarados. Probably does, I would think, like 75. Wow, that does not do as much as I wanted it to. He's going to Liquidation into Snorlax, which means he's Trick Rooming here. Oh, but he actually does knock me out. Wow, I didn't think that would knock me out. That's really bad. I really thought I was going to be able to survive that, but I underestimated Araquanid's power. That pretty much loses it, actually, I think, for me. Because what I needed to do was bring Snorlax from the back. Like, what I wanted to do was sack Nihilego, potentially, because I didn't know whether he was tricking me or not. I thought he might have wanted to opt for, like, Thunderbolt if he had it. I don't know whether he has it or not. And now with Trick Room up, I can't really do much here. I thought Gyarados could maybe do more with the Z move as well. Unfortunately, did not. So, correct play there would have been for me to switch out Nihilego into... or Snorlax into Nihilego, so I could recycle the next turn. But as opposed to be a Thunderbolt, it really doesn't make a difference. And yeah, taking that much damage with Snorlax was not fun. So here, I'll Protect. If he doesn't have Thunderbolt, maybe I'm still in it, but you probably just recover with Porygon here. Waterfall should knock him out if he doesn't recover, but I still can't really beat Araquanid with Gyarados. Maybe Porygon can't hit me. Yeah, so he does Liquidation into the Protect and probably just recovers? Yeah. I don't even think a Waterfall crit would knock out Porygon. But I gotta go for what I can. Yeah, so Sash Cortana gave me a lot of trouble here, and my main answer against Trick Room is Snorlax, so not having that was bad. I mean, here you probably just Liquidation and recover again, so maybe I have to just keep Dragon Dancing this. Because Waterfalling trading with Porygon doesn't really do anything. Yeah, I'm going to fail to protect, he's just going to knock me out. I don't know what the roll there on the Snorlax is. My Snorlax is pretty bulky, so I was honestly surprised to see that knockout at -1. If that were a high damage roll, it would be a little bit frustrating, because if Trick Room goes up while Snorlax is still around, then I can keep recycling, and at his Araquanid being at -1, I could also swap back in and out. But he made the best play possible. And yeah, unfortunately the Water Z move just did not do enough there. That's a difficulty of using Snorlax outside of Trick Room as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna... If he has Thunderbolt, which... I'm guessing he doesn't because he hasn't gone for it. My only way of winning really here is if I'm gonna Dragon Dance... Or no, I'm gonna Waterfall Porygon twice, which should knock him out. We'll see what Porygon has offensively. Because this is -1 Liquidation coming out from Araquanid. He has Toxic, so technically the game's not over yet. But I do wish I Dragon Danced instead of Waterfalling earlier. So I'm at +2. I wonder if 2 Waterfalls can knock Porygon out. I mean, if he Mystics Toxic, that would be huge. Because then, with Toxic, that's additional residual damage. I mean, Liquidation probably still does a hefty amount here. Not that much, actually. But he does hit Toxic. That will probably mean the game, because I think if he missed that, I could actually have a really solid chance of winning. Because he doesn't have that extra residual damage every turn. I think 2 Waterfalls probably knock out Porygon. That actually comes really close. Yeah. So I should have Dragon Danced earlier. I don't think that would have really mattered, though, with Porygon having Toxic. So another Waterfall here will knock out Porygon, but Araquanid can just protect. You just Liquidation Trick Room here. Well played by James. Trick Room is still definitely a little bit hard. And yeah, Porygon does faint there, so +2 Gyarados. Put it in some work. But yeah, I really think I needed that Toxic to miss. Yeah, because now you can 38 down to 16. Ooh, and another Toxic actually just, I faint. So all James has to do here is protect, and he's got the game locked up, I think. Yeah, I'll just Waterfall. Yeah, this one was definitely tricky. I think switching out Coco might have been correct because dealing with Araquanid was really tricky here. I didn't have a way to effectively one-shot it, but that's fine. Really well played by him there in the end, and I'm really curious on the roll there on Liquidation onto Snorlax. I don't know if it was a roll at all, like maybe he picks up the knockout guaranteed. Like I said, I am pretty defensive with a good amount of HP and defense investment, but Araquanid's also like one of the hardest hitting Pokemon in the format, so I was kind of surprised to see that because the Z move like didn't do as much as I thought, so based off the Z move roll, I was like, oh, okay, Liquidation probably doesn't knock me out. And if he doesn't pick up that knockout, then basically what happens is Porygon's going to take some damage from Facade, enough that maybe even another Facade will just knock him out. Even if not, I could Recycle Stall with Snorlax, and if Snorlax, you know, is under Trick Room, then it will always move first, so that's really what caught me off guard, but I could have tried to prevent that by switching into Nihilego. The one thing I was really fearing was if that Porygon was more offensive and carried Thunderbolt, because if that was the case, then Gyarados could have went down. But overall, well-played game by James. That first turn obviously worked out very nicely in my favor, but once I was locked into Hidden Power Fire, knowing that the Cortana was sashed, that gave me some issues, and Araquanid, definitely a tricky Pokemon to play around. So, yeah, good game to James. Definitely check him out. He might have been recording the battle as well. Like I mentioned, I have his YouTube link in the description below. And that's going to be it for this one, guys. So, hope you guys enjoyed. As always, leave a like if you did, and I'll catch you guys next time. Alright, peace.